The woman had only come to attend a wedding at her friend's invitation, but she was suddenly told she was the bride of the day. Before she could react, the butler slit the maid's throat to celebrate with blood. Instead of being afraid, the people around laughed happily. The butler poured the maid's blood into wine glasses and handed them to each guest, until they all opened their mouths to reveal sharp fangs. Only then did Amy realize these creatures were not humans at all, but the legendary terrifying vampires. Amy pretended to need to use the bathroom, but was stopped by guards at the door. How could the vampires let her go so easily? It turned out the groom had been searching for Amy for years, finally finding someone with such a rare blood type. They had to see the wedding through to the end that night. With that, he ordered his men to drag Amy into the basement and lock her in a coffin. Amy was at a loss. Just as she gave up all hope, she suddenly heard the sound of a lock being opened outside the coffin. When it opened, she saw it was the housekeeper come to rescue her. She had been good friends with Amy's grandmother, so she decided to help. It turned out both Amy and her grandmother had extremely rare panda blood, the most needed thing for the Vampire King. Once he completed the wedding ritual with Amy, he would gain unparalleled power and immortality. At that point, Amy would be trapped in the castle forever, becoming a blood bag for the vampires. But as soon as Amy left the castle, the alarm went off. The butcher led men in pursuit. Amy had to run faster. Seeing guards ahead, she hid in a nearby wooden cabin, crouching under a table to conceal herself. To her horror, the cabin was actually the vampire slaughterhouse. The housekeeper who had just helped her had been drained of blood and casually thrown on the table. Amy could barely hold back her tears, which immediately caught the butcher's attention. The butcher approached cautiously, about to discover her, so Amy quickly got up and ran, using a shovel to lock the wooden door from the outside. She fled into the woods, running continuously for 3 hours before finally seeing a small town in the distance. Dragging her exhausted body onto the street, she found that night had fallen and almost no houses had lights on. At a corner, she spotted an elderly couple still awake. After urgent pleading, they opened the door and let her in. The kind old lady heated tea for her, while the old man tried to call the police. But due to his poor hearing, he called the old lady to answer. Amy finally breathed a sigh of relief and looked around the cabin, until she saw a photo that left her dumbfounded. The people in the photo were the vampires from the castle, and the old man and woman on the far left were once their servants. Amy immediately realized they weren't calling the police at all. They were notifying the vampires to come catch her.